I call this Town of Adams Board of Selectmen's meeting to order. This meeting is being recorded. The Board of Selectmen meetings are recorded and televised live on Northern Berkshire Community Television, channel 1303. Can everyone please stand and join the Board of Selectmen in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is approval of minutes. We have several here, beginning with 3A, the Board of Selectmen's meeting from February 19th, 2025. Do I have a motion to waive the reading of the minutes and to approve?
I make a motion to not read the minutes and approve for 2/19/25, the Board of Selectmen's meeting.
Motion by Ann. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, second by Joe. Discussion?
I just want to say that I just got them, and it's difficult to try to go over them and ascertain whether they're right, so I'm just taking for granted they were done correctly.
Okay, anything else? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, one abstention, and I wasn't at that meeting, so 2 in favor. Okay, next is March 5th, Board of Selectmen's meeting. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to waive the reading of the minutes for March 5th, 2025, of the Board of Selectmen.
Motion by Ann, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Joe, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, one abstention. I wasn't at that meeting. Item C, March 25th, Board of Selectmen's meeting minutes.
I want to waive the reading of the minutes of 3/25/25 of the Board of Selectmen's meeting and approve them.
Motion by Ann, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, none, unanimous decision. Next is D, minutes from the same day, separate meeting from March 25th, 2025.
I'll make a motion to waive the reading of the minutes for 3/25/25 for the Board of Selectmen's meeting.
Motion by Ann, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous. Next is E. This is the April 1st budget workshop. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to waive the reading of 4/1/25, the budget workshop.
Motion by Ann, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, none, unanimous. And the last one we have this evening is 3F from April 2nd, which was a Board of Selectmen's meeting.
I'll make a motion to waive the reading of the minutes of 4/2/25 of the Board of Selectmen's meeting.
We have a motion from Ann, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, none, unanimous decision. Okay. Next is public comment. Anyone in the audience who would like to address the Board of Selectmen? Yes, sir. Yep.
My name's Steve Marco. It's Marco with a K. I live at 650 Rose Road in the town of Cheshire. I think you all know why I'm here. All right. And I guess the one question I have, John, is KP Law going to ever contact us, or have they?
They have. I got something back today. I think the best way forward is for us to have a meeting with KP, with our legal counsel, myself, Ken, and also your legal counsel, and we can make sure we're on the same page, and we can see what can be done or whatever. So, yeah, if you can leave your phone number, if I don't have it, and then we can call you, and I'll set up a meeting.
You want a phone number?
Yeah, if you can leave that, please.
Okay.
We don't say it
My
on TV.
landline?
You don't say it on TV if you just want to write it down.
Okay.
So, I'll set up a meeting in the near future with the legal entities.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Anyone else who would like to address the board? Yes, sir? State your name, please, and your community.
Certainly will. I'm Steve Dadak. I live at 19 Temple Street. I own 12 Harmony Street, a large warehouse. We just saw the tragedy of the warehouse across the street from me because it was improperly maintained and multiple holes in the fence. I'm here on another issue. I've been trying to market this property for over 5 years now. I've been a property owner of note since 1999, 25 years. Made a large investment in this town, did it with a carpenter's salary. The town has stonewalled me on every aspect of trying to get Pex Brook fixed. This town, if they want investment, they need to fix their infrastructure. I haven't asked for anything more than anyone else. They're working on the east side of Pex Brook to the river to repair that. They've supposedly done engineering studies on that and gotten some kind of grant in the works to fix that side. They're currently, as we're going to hear later, taking out the dam above me on Pex Brook, the west side of the brook. Okay? We all know that the permitting alone to go into a brook and do any kind of work is exorbitant. That has stymied the sale of the property, that has stymied any development on my property, and I've had multiple million-dollar offers to work on that property and do sizable investments with the latest trend, which is live workspaces, artist studios, and lofts. But without that infrastructure, the money has fallen aside, and they've gotten nowhere. Now, most recently with Donna Seasons, it took me 4 weeks to get a conversation with her. Okay, I've been in that office for 25 years now and gotten nowhere. If you look at the Blackington Mill in North Adams, they got a large sizable grant, and it's looking like they've got their infrastructure straightened out up there, and the Blackington Mill is online to be a huge, beautiful, reconditioned mill. I would like the same to happen to mine rather than what happened to the mill across the street from me. My time is short here. I cannot sustain the investment I have in that building any longer. It's time for a new owner, and without the town's infrastructure, it won't happen. That building was the L.L. Brown Paper Company warehouse. There's a lot of history to that building. That building granted an easement for the sewer up through the river. That building has been an employer of the people of this town. That building has given a lot to this town. And I'm not asking for the town to do much other than to take care of their infrastructure or to help out with the water piping infrastructure, which has fallen on deaf ears, which is going to make it fall into disrepair. It currently needs a lot of work at this point. And I'm not getting anywhere with anybody here in town, and it seems foolish to do the brook east of me and the brook west of me and not to do my infrastructure. If you don't do the flood control chute through 12 Harmony Street, that'll take out the bridge. We all know what climate change is doing to the environment everywhere. We don't want to be another North Carolina. The latest round of money, this town spent $50,000 from Attorney General's grant and $74,000 you're going to hear from DCR to do just a study on the dam above me. We got to build a house on my street that's $30,000 to demolish and remove. It's got a gaping hole in it, okay? That's destroying the property value of the neighborhood. That's infrastructure. The town refuses to do anything like this. You want a new fire department in this town. We just saw how taxed they were today and how much they needed help from other communities, okay? They want a new building. They need a new building. You cannot expect the taxpayers to keep footing these bills if we don't take care of our infrastructure. And our infrastructure brings investment. Our investment makes it possible for these water departments and the town departments to have a sustainable community. I've been there 25 years. All I asked for was a little coordination and some help with the infrastructure. None, zero, falling on deaf ears. I'm here to tell you, I'm not going to be here any longer. And that building is going to fall on the burden of this town like all the other vacant buildings in this town. And when that happens, you're all going to wonder, where were we when he needed him? I've been here. You all know me. I've been here hundreds and hundreds of times. I've been through this building and talked to everybody on every floor. And I've gotten no assistance and no help. I'm going to leave town, and this is you're cutting off your nose to spite your face, people. And this is really, really bad. Carver came to a meeting at the visitor center years ago, and he said he will not invest in this town, and this is exactly why. You don't put money into proper infrastructure and help with these things. Sure, there's grants out there. Donna Season said to me, oh, when you show up with somebody with money, we'll fix the flood control chute. That's the cart before the horse. You fix the infrastructure, the investment will follow. That's how it works. It doesn't work the way you're doing it. It's not helping me, it's not helping the town, it's not helping anybody. I made a poor investment in this town, and I'm losing my shirt, and I'm gonna walk away from this town, and you people are gonna be stuck holding the bag, all because you didn't wanna apply for a grant for the whole business, both the east, the west, and the center section of that infrastructure. I can't afford it, the new people looking at that building can't afford it, and I'm at my wit's end. I'm sorry to give a scathing review of the town, but that's where I'm at. I can no longer keep up and take care of this. And if there's anything this board can do, any pressure you can put on the Community Development Office or the Water Department to help with the water pipe, those things would be a great plus. But I just had another buyer walk away because I didn't have the answers and nobody would give me any answers to what that we could do with that. And if you have comments, I will sit and listen. I have far more information on the whole area. I know the owners of the dam. I follow all the boards, and this is just a shame. I'm very disappointed in my town. I've spent 40 years here. I've had enough.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll ask the Community Development Office to give us a write-up of the history of all that you've discussed, so we can get brought up to speed on it, and the board can make a decision if they want to have it as an agenda item to go into deeper discussion. So.
And everyone knows how to get a hold of me.
Yes, we do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a few comments myself. Steve has been here many, many times on this issue, and we who've been on this board realize that. And he just wants something that you're really not asking much for. We know that pipe, I think part of it was wooden, if I'm not correct, at one time.
It's a cast iron pipe. That was a big gift to this town.
Yep.
They ran that sewer pipe up through that property when the L.L. Brown Paper Company owned it, and they hooked up all those sewer lines. That was a huge cost savings to this town. And speaking of that, if anybody here's been on the board long enough, if you remember the water pipe at Maple Street, when they did the Maple Street extension, they buried that water pipe. It's too deep in the road now to repair. And the same thing has happened to my water pipe. It's over at Harmony Street, River Street, Prospect Street Bridge. It's 12 feet deep over there. When that sprinkler pipe was put in, it was not at 12 feet deep over there. Now, they sued the developer for Maple Street that buried that. The flood control chute buried my pipe deep in the ground. And now that burden of cost is placed on me and the new owner. That makes it cost prohibitive to maintain that pipe. And the water department, I understand it. They don't have the money to help me out. The board doesn't have the help. The federal government's cutting all these fundings. But the CDC, this is 25 years I've been going on. 25 years. It can't last any longer. I cannot last any longer.
Steve, could I stop you there?
Sure.
So we can make some comments, and Chairman Duval said that he's going to do it, and I'm hoping that it will be done. I haven't seen you here in the building in front of us for quite some time. I'm along with you with the infrastructure. I've been bringing that up for quite some time. Our housing stock is poor, and we just say, we put our hands up, well, we can't do nothing about it. And it's time we do something about it. And I'm hoping, as a board, that we can find ways of taking down these houses. The one in particular near Harmony Street, that has been in that condition for such a long time, and it comes down to, oh, we don't know who the owner is, or, so if we don't know who the owner is, and no one's come forth for such a long time, no one even knows who the owner is, and our housing stock is poor. It's never been like this, and that's a detriment to people who come to the community, who may want to reside in here and see the condition that some of our housing stock is, particularly in our downtown area. And I'm with you on that. And I'm gonna, if I can do anything about it, I'm gonna continue to harp on it, because infrastructure isn't a sexy thing, so you hide it. And you do something where everybody in town can see it. And so kudos to the town of Adams for, you know, doing something that's everybody can see. But the infrastructure is, once again, a big part of any community, and the destination that the town will take in order to have proper infrastructure for people to do what they need to do.
Well,
And there's Donna right there, if you,
yeah. I think it's a matter of priority. We seem to have a lot of money for the blend, which is costing the taxpayers in this town a lot of money. We've got all this money they're spending on a dam removal, which is going to add no benefit and add no extra tax benefit to the town. We've got the paper company coming into town is blighted. That building next to me that just burnt today, that's blighted. I hold the northern gateway to that bike path. 18,000 people go down that bike path. Do we want another blighted building on that bike path? I have worked my hardest to keep the graffiti off that building and keep it pretty decent looking, so that people see a nice building there. And I cannot afford to do any more to that place. And you know, I've been stonewalled by this town. And the CDC, and I'm really sorry, you know, I'm beginning to believe I should have listened to Mr. Carter years ago and not invested in this town. And I think it's a beautiful blend, but when you drive by houses that are blighted, and paper mills that are blighted, and other buildings that are blighted, people are not gonna wanna invest here.
Okay, so I have the action, and we'll get that back to
I
the
just
board.
want one thing, I disagree with you taking out that dam. I'm for taking that dam out. I think there'll be some funds for us through dam safety. It's been a push for the state of Massachusetts, and I believe strongly that it will help the ecosystem, allowing fish to make passage back and forth, which in my opinion is something that really needs to be done. So I kind of would like to see that dam taken down. It's going to be a tough sell. It might not be for a long time, but I know we're on the radar screen for it, so.
I'm an environmentalist at heart like you are, Joe, and I'm all for the dam. When I first bought that building, I was worried. But if you take that, it seems like a waste of money to take that dam out and not repair the section of river where my building is, and then have a storm come through, wipe out the flood control chute, my building, and the bridge on Harmony Street, because it's in such poor condition.
Well, I would just end, in my last statement would be, if that dam ever goes with all of the silt and everything behind it, it would be a catastrophe.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's all I have to say, and thanks for coming down.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to address the board? Hearing none? Okay, we'll move on. Under new business, A, the BRPC countywide air monitoring project.
Excuse me, I can't see any of the people that
We
are.
can, Want us to move that back?
If you-
Want to move down? I can move.
Yeah, I
Wait, wanna move
can, that
down?
would be better.
There we go.
Christine's not gonna be here?
No, she couldn't make it this evening.
Okay.
Okay?
There.
There you are.
There it is. BRPC Countywide Air Monitoring Project, review and approval of installation of sensors in town facilities. We'll start it off with Ken.
We have Brittany Daniels with us from the Berkshire Regional Planning Commission, and they have a countywide air monitoring project that they're working on. They would like Adams to be part of that, and you have a handout in front of you, it shows you the towns that the Planning Commission is going to work with. There's a number of places where they would like to install the sensors, the air monitoring sensors, in the town, and so she's here tonight to explain the project to you and to seek your approval in placing those sensors.
So the board has just received this, so if you don't mind, if you go into a little detail about what's on these pages.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So BRPC was awarded EPA funds in 2023 to focus on a regional scale air monitoring program. The reason for that is twofold. The first one is there's only 2 regulatory monitors in all of the Berkshires. One is by Masmoka and one is in Pittsfield at Silver Lake by the former GE facilities. If you ever travel the Berkshires from north to south on a rainy day or snowy day, you'll see that our microclimates can vary greatly. For instance, on my commute from Pittsfield to here, it was snowing. It was not snowing when I left Pittsfield. So those changes across the county can also vary with our air quality. So the EPA, back in 2023, was supporting initiatives to understand what local air quality could look like. The other reason for the rationale for this project was we have a lot of vulnerable populations. Asthma rates are very high across the county, along with cardiovascular and respiratory issues compared to the rest of the state. We also have had a slight uptick of wildfire instances, both, there was the butternut fire in Great Barrington, I always want to say butternut squash. But then we've also had impacts from Canadian wildfire smoke, and that was in 2022, and we've also had California wildfire smoke. So the Berkshires are not isolated from wildfire smoke impacts that could further compromise our air quality. So what we're looking to do is establish a regional level of air quality. So the sensors that we're looking to procure are what we call low-cost sensors, because on the grand scheme of what sensors could cost, $20,000 to $50,000, these are about $200 to $1,000. They are non-regulatory. So we have submitted a quality assurance plan to the EPA, which was approved. So if whatever our findings do indicate, it will help the EPA follow up to see if there needs to be any former regulations and follow through. So our methodology was based on 3 principles. We were looking for communities that had state-listed environmental justice communities, such as Adams, urban and transportation corridors, which Adams also has, coming from north to south. And we were also looking for industries within municipalities, which we pulled from the National Emissions Inventory. So we can see which industries are allowed to discharge pollutants under the Clean Air Act. But when you cluster them together on a county scale, you'll see that they are quite populated, and Adams fits all 3 of those criteria. So therefore, we think that Adams would be a great fit along with 10 other identified municipalities for this project. We are looking to collect air quality data for 1 full year. We are in the process of procuring that equipment because BRPC is bounded by local government procurement laws, so we expect to have it out to bid at the end of the month. These will also accompany a interactive website dashboard that would be public facing. So along with data collection for this project, it will also support a lot of public education initiative. We're hoping to start an asthma coalition network, which is very similar to what's been developed out east and actually out in Springfield. So the analytes, or the pollutants that we're looking to test, are particulate matter, which we're going to call PM. When we talk about air quality, particulate matter is a very big concern because it's easily created with chemical compounds, wood burning, vehicle emissions. They come in 2 sizes, so if you flip over your handout, you'll see kind of a size comparison to a strand of hair. They're very, very, very small. which is why they do have a public health concern, because they can penetrate protective equipment right through the material, and they can settle very deep into the lung, so you don't just exhale them out, they can kind of stay in the body. So usually with air quality concerns, particulate matter is the first thing that industries, public health officials kind of like to flag. So we are hoping to measure two sizes, one that's very small, one's slightly larger, called PM10. These are micron sizes, so very, very small. In addition to those two analytes, we are looking to procure 3 sensors, only 3 because they are very expensive, about $6,000. And they're going to measure NO2, or nitrogen dioxide. This is a direct component to vehicle emission, so that will have us a better understanding of our lack of public transportation. We have a lot of cars on the road. How are those emissions affecting schools and residential areas? Which atoms that we do have cited that would host one of those, what I call a high-grade sensor. So it's measuring quite a bit more, including that NO2. That's a lot of information, so I'll entertain any kind of questions or follow-up to what I've presented so far.
Is the funding still secured? It's an EPA award. so
Yes.
that's the
Yes,
question of the
we were
day.
subject to federal funding freezes. They did go into a cone of silence to review the internal procedures that they allocated that funding source. We did get confirmation from our project officer last month that we are allowed to proceed and continue to draw down. We have been drawing down. At this time, we do not anticipate any other funding interruptions.
Okay.
Along the funding, I would like to emphasize that we would like the town to participate at no cost to the town. So we will not be charging for these sensors. All the staffing, data analysis will be covered under this grant.
Okay, questions from the board?
Yeah, I'm glad to see this is taking place. I mean, you can see in Dalton with the cement, the silicon gets into your lungs, it stays there. And we have specialty minerals, which, you know, it's a great employer, but there's a lot of dust that's transferred into the air from the quarry and what they do in their manufacturing base. And is there going to be any censoring for methane?
No, the sensors, again, are low cost. These kind of sensors are usually measured 2 or 3. We chose particulate matter because when I pulled the national emissions inventory, which is the latest data was 2020, so some time ago, PM by tons was the highest was one of the highest discharge pollutants in the Berkshires. And again, these are industries that are legally allowed. They have a permit from EPA. They're allowed to discharge on the Clean Air Act. But we said, well, if we're gonna, what is in our air and what should we be testing? So we went with the highest analyte, and that was the particulate matter by tons. It's far, far reaching.
And do you have a location set for where these sensors will be?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't get to, I just got,
Yeah, we all just got it, so.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I was gonna ask you where the locations were, and then he's, well, what's this other paper? So-
I provided a list of locations. We've done a lot of desktop analysis. We're looking for municipal locations and public housing. The reason is we're looking to do both indoor and outdoor, and we want municipal locations along with Public Housing Authority to just kind of make sure we minimize any variables that could affect our data set. Like I have a really good air purifier at my house. I turn on my gas stove, the cat runs by, that thing is really grumpy. I really have it, but it's very easy to distort a data set when we come to air quality, so we want to minimize any kind of variables. So that's why we said, well, we can't really do residential program, because if you have a gas stove or pads or anything else like that, we could see an uptick, and we wouldn't really know what's happening in the background. So this would allow us to understand what the public is experiencing in public spaces, especially parks or any kind of, I think for Adams, we have the library cited. So that will give us a sense of both what indoor and outdoor would look like. And I've also provided a map of Adams where we have these locations, so you can kind of see a little clustering. We have some outdoor indicated by the little tree symbols. So we're looking to kind of have a distribution, but get a real sense of where do we need to kind of place these sensors of what people might be experiencing.
through the chair, have you worked with University of Massachusetts? They have a mobile monitoring station, and I'm with the Woodlands Partnership. And they came up with some very interesting findings. Have you talked to anyone from the University of Mass about how they're doing it?
No, but that's one of the other elements of this project. We do want to have some sort of mobile sensors. It's a great way to kind of tie in an educational element, maybe with high schoolers, and, to procure those sensors. They could walk, if they walk to school, what are kids experiencing? That was one avenue pursuing, but I'd be happy to kind of note that and follow up with UMass.
Well, just my last thing, I'm glad that you're incorporating students, because their environment is going to be, I'm not a doomsdayer, but I know the environment pretty well, and climate change is here. And it's going to be the children that take the reins and to understand what's going on. And I don't think a lot of kids do know it. I know they're trying to teach it, but when you're a young kid and, life is good and giggly, it's hard for a lot of them to understand it. So I'm glad that the focus will be on children and teenagers alike.
We are partnering with Cooler Communities. They do a lot of clean energy, climate change curriculum development. They're a nonprofit, but they work in tangent with schools. And so they have a very vetted interest in supporting this project and helping develop curriculum alongside the data analysis of helping kids understand, like, what is air quality? What does it mean when we see these kind of readings? So we're kind of helping them develop that for different grade levels appropriately.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else from the board? Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the installation of sensors in town facilities in support of the BRPC countywide air monitoring project?
I'll make a motion to accept the BRPC countywide air monitoring project, and approve installation of sensors in town facilities.
Motion by Ann, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Joe, any discussion?
I just have one last question. How will we be notified, and how often will we be notified of your findings?
We do plan to collaborate. We have David Rhodes has been one of our partners. This project scope was developed by 3 rounds of meeting with boards of health on a county level. So right now, I think once we get the sensors, we'll be touching base with this organization and kind of see if we want to meet every 2 months and go over the findings. Certainly, we'll be working with a contracted vendor, so if we see any spike in readings, we'll be having them, saying, is this just a one-time anomaly, or is this something that we need to be concerned about? And so we have the boards of health have kind of signed off on this project and are an interested partner. I also want to emphasize that while we're not in possession of the equipment yet, I'm expecting that it'll be a large coffee mug size to an iPad size. So just so you understand, the equipment is not massive, it's not the size of a refrigerator, it won't be on stands, it'll be all wall mounted, and breathable space, which is 3 to 6 feet. So it shouldn't be any larger than an iPad.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous decision, thank you.
Thank you. Just a follow-up question, for installation, who is the best contact?
Town Administrator Ken Walto.
Okay, you have a ladder? Thank you for your time.
How's your lift, though?
All right. So I'm starting a new business. We have item B, nomination of Inspector of Animals for the year ending April 30th, 2026, in accordance with the provisions of Section 15 of Chapter 129 of the General Laws as amended. Ken?
Yeah, the Inspector of Animals is nominated by the Select Board every year and confirmed by the Department of Agricultural Resources. Typically, Adams has nominated its animal control officer as its animal inspector, and that's what you have before you here today. You might have seen in your packet the actual form that the Mass Department of Agricultural Resources has sent us.
And we will fill out that form if the board approves.
If the board approves.
Okay. All right, any discussion, or do we have a motion from the board?
I just have one question.
Sure.
Now, Have we been doing this every year? I don't remember.
You know, I haven't checked, Joe, but what came back here from MDAR was Kimberly's name on this, and it's typical.
Okay, yeah, because I don't remember it being done for some time.
Yeah.
Any further discussion, or do we have a motion?
There's, if you care to make a motion, you can see I've taken the trouble to write one for you. You could read right off there.
The highlighted area.
Yes.
I'll make a motion that the Town Adams Board of Selectmen hereby nominates Kimberly Riddick as Inspector of Animals for the year ending April 30th, 2026, and so inform the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of Agricultural Resources.
Motion by Ann, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Joe. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous decision. And the final item on the new business this evening is a presentation on the April 26th Adams Community Cleanup Day, organized by Northern Berkshire Events Committee and Adams Beautification. We have Jane Meseroy here.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Tonight I'm wearing my Northern Berkshire Events Committee hat. This is my favorite thing to present to you guys every single year. It's our third annual Adams Community Cleanup Day. This year we picked between the Northern Berkshire Events Committee and the Adams Beautification Group, April 26th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. with a rain date of May 3rd, so it's 2 Saturday mornings. We partner with the Adams Beautification Group. That group cleans up a lot of the areas around the downtown, do a lot of planning, and we're honored to be working with them because they're doing a job that it's tough. It's tough to keep everything all beautiful. We're partnering with Second Chance Composting for the second year in a row. John Pitroff and his group, they removed 3 tons of compost last year that we took out, so we're happy to partner with him. He does that for us, and thankfully this year we're talking about maybe doing like a food truck or something for the volunteers that come. And the new juice place, We Got the Juice, they agreed to give us samples of their products for the volunteers, so if you show up that day you can get some samples of their products. So that's a really cool partnership with a new business in town. Just a little bit of information that we ask people if they're going to volunteer, if they want to bring their own equipment, shovels and whatnot. Gloves too are definitely necessary. We try to provide them, but if you have actual gloves, it's really helpful for picking up different things on the ground. We're also working with the town, with the DPW. They're going to provide us a truck stationed at the visitor center, which is where we're going to start from. So everyone will congregate there. And the reason the truck's going to be there is for trash pickup, so people can put the trash in the back of the truck, and that'll stay till 1:30 in the afternoon. So in case someone's out and about and they want to bring that by, they also will provide trash bags for us. I'll go into a little bit of the locations that we're going to work on if you guys want some information there. We started the visitor center. That's where we kind of coordinate where we're going to go from depending on who shows up that morning. We're going to do the gardens along the Hoosick Street area. That's what Adams Beautification Group does normally. They also do the roundabout area as well. The train station we've worked on in the past, and there's just some planting that they do there. And then the Sail Park we cleaned up. Our first year we did it, and so we just like to clean up that little area as well. The biggest thing we're going to try to do this year, we did some of in the previous years, is trash pickup. We all know that trash is an issue right now along the roadways. So we're going to hit a couple areas in the downtown area. In the past, we've hit Hoosick Street, Winter Street area, so we try to hit those neighborhoods. The rail trail, as much as we can extend out, probably to like Russell Field area. And then Fisk Street near the American Legion going up towards the golf course as well. There were some other spots we talked about doing, but high traffic areas are a little dangerous, especially if we have volunteers out there. So what we're asking is if people want to clean up their own neighborhood, they can feel free, and then they can bring whatever they want down to us. Just the roadside trash, we don't want people's actual trash bags, but if anyone wants to clean up their own neighborhood and they want to do it on their own, they can feel free. We're here for them to help them out. So I'll take any questions, but that's what I got right now.
All right, any questions or comments from the board?
I have a comment. I commend you for doing this because it's really important that we have a clean environment. And I'd like to personally thank the beautification group. It's just amazing what they've done. And they're volunteers, and that makes such a big difference if you can have volunteers that really give it their all, and they certainly do. And what I've noticed with the beautification group, a lot of them are in my age category. I think volunteerism was really big when the times I grew up. And now times are just so busy that a lot of people don't have the time or the will to want to do it because their lives are so hectic. But I want to commend you, and I'll get, like I do every year before Earth Day, I'll get East Hoosick Street near the river. But problem is, you do something and it looks good, but it's only just a matter of days before what's all been done is strewn with litter again. I don't know how you stop that, but anyways, thank you for what you're going to do. It's very helpful.
Yeah, it's a drop in the bucket, but
No,
at least
it
if we
isn't
can-
really. It's-
this time of year is the perfect year, once the
Yeah.
snow melts, is try to get some of that
No,
stuff
we have to
cleared.
find a way to, because as you mentioned, I walk a lot, and there's just so many places that just everywhere. And it's places that are kind of out of the way where no one's going to see you do it and that type of thing. But anyways, thank you. That's all I have.
Okay.
Awesome.
Anything else?
I think you do a good job. I'm just want to know, do you ever approach like the high school or BART and see,
Yeah,
to have them
absolutely.
with a
So-
class thing?
Yeah, so we, and I have to reach out to them again, but in the past, the Leo Club has worked with us through the high school. But there's definitely ways we can get, especially kids need volunteer hours, whether it's National Honor Society or the Leo Club, or to get into college too. You know, the volunteer hours look great. So we've reached out a little bit, and we will continue to do that for sure.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Jay.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right, old business. First item is update on town administrative search process.
May I ask, we have somebody here for the last item, and I don't know
What item?
about the announcements. Will that need a vote, or is that just, we're going to hear about it and we won't need to vote on it? Because I think these items, unless you can tell me that it's short.
It's an announcement, we don't have discussion, or? Yeah, we can discuss it, but we can discuss it.
It's just quick
Okay.
announcement.
Yeah, so Joe, what's the request again, so I understand? We have someone here that wants to speak to one of the announcements this evening?
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine.
May I go forward?
Do you have, it's up to the board to make a motion and a vote to move you up on the agenda if you have to leave or something. But if you can wait,
I'm just an hour and a half away. I can stay.
up to the board.
I'd make a motion to hold old business and go to the announcement from the Department of Conservation and Recreation about land purchase.
Motion by Joe, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ed, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous, okay? Mano? Just please state your name and your organization.
Well, first, thank you very much. My name's Jennifer Soper, and I work for the Massachusetts Department of Conservation and Recreation. And we're the folks that have the staff that manage the Savoy Mountain State Forest. I have been working recently with Sharon and Gary Alabosic, who are here, as well as their brother Brian, to purchase the backland of their farm property that's on East Mountain Road. Anytime the department acquires land in a town, it's required to just make a public announcement at the Board of Selectmen. It's not a vote, so I'll just read this. the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, acting through its Department of Conservation and Recreation, has under consideration the acquisition of land comprising approximately 110 acres off East Mountain Road in the town of Adams. The property is currently undeveloped forested land used for outdoor recreation and as a woodlot, previously used by dairy cows for calving. The proposed use for the property will be for natural resource protection and outdoor public recreation and will be managed as part of the Savoy Mountain State Forest. Attached is a locus map marked Exhibit A. It's on it's the last page of your agenda. As you see, there's this odd-shaped parcel that's south of East Mountain Road, and we are proposing just to buy the east side of it, leaving all of the frontage available in the Alabosic family. So I thank you for your time for letting me read this.
Gary or Sharon, you have anything you'd like to add, or are you good?
Well, if anyone knows anything about snowmobiling, the S-turn trail that leads the Savoy Mountain State Forest and Graylock is that, and it'll always be for snowmobiling forever.
Okay, that's great news. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for that. Is the board, any questions? We good? All right, getting back to old business. Update on town administrator search process. Ken, can you start us off there?
Yes, Christine, of course, isn't able to be with us this evening, so I volunteered to tell you where we stand with the process. This afternoon, I got a request for proposals, a draft form of a request for proposals, and we expect that the price for it's for a consultant to help us find a new town administrator. So, request for proposals is under, talk a little legalese, under Chapter 30B, Section 6 of the Massachusetts General Laws. And under that type of process, we would seek proposals rather than bids. Okay, so when you can't specifically define what you're looking for, like building a street, you often want to ask for proposals so you can get the best firm at the best price. So you get separate price and non-price proposals. Christine would like to get this out by May 1st. There's a 2-week advertising requirement. It has to go in the Combis state board, and then it has to go in the paper and be posted on our own site. So it goes in 3 places. You have to approach at least 3 firms. Christine, I haven't seen the list of firms, but she has 5 firms that she's come up with that we would send this proposal to. So we're going to try to get it out by May 1st, 2-week advertising time, then get the proposals back. And then would be an analysis of the proposals and a selection based on price and the quality of the proposal.
And this is just the firms that are going to seek?
Their help, that's right. That's the search firm.
Yeah, the search firm to come back with whatever the board requests in regards to
Part of the job is to work
names.
closely with the board to make sure you define what you're looking for in a town administrator, and then help him to do the search process.
Right, with a screening committee is what.
Screening committee.
The way we did it the last time.
That's exactly how it
So
works.
pretty much the same process as the last time.
Yep.
We just need to identify the search business
We're going to
organization.
search firm, and then turn them loose to do the recruitment.
So, when will we expect the search for the firms we're going to look at? The names of them and how far their outreach will be to look for a new town administrator?
Yeah, it's hard to say, Joe, without looking at the proposal, but what's typical? You advertise in the MMA publication, the International City Management publication. Sometimes you reach out to universities, you reach out to individual communities, you reach out, one of these things these recruiters do, they're usually plugged in to the system, and they'll call individuals that they know might be interested and say, are you interested in this job? We've got a job opening here in Adams, here's what they pay, and that kind of.
Yeah, I'd like to see the proposals be stretched away from just not New England and other places.
Yeah. Yeah, if you advertise in the International City Management Association, you got basically the world, but it focuses on the United States.
Thank you.
So the next meeting, the first meeting in May, we can have an updated status?
Yes.
Okay, great.
The hard thing is, I told Christine this afternoon, the hard thing is juggling this while we're finishing the budget and getting ready for the annual town meetings. We've got to kind of shoehorn it in there and get it out, but she made a good start by drafting a request for proposals.
We only have you for so long, right, Ken?
Turned into a pumpkin in a few months.
That's right. Okay, next is the update on contract negotiations for various parties, projects at the Greylock Glen. Ken, I know we did have the budget meeting recently, we did have a question and answer period, but Ann has asked for information in this area, so you did receive information from Mike?
Right. Mike couldn't be with us this evening, so he prepared a very brief summary of what's going on. And if you'd like, I'll read it into the record.
Okay.
Please.
Okay. Status of legal agreements as of 4/16/25. Select Energy, and that's, of course, the firm building those solar carports. Final PPA, sublease, and notice of lease sent by Select on Tuesday, the 15th, for approval and execution. So they sent that to us, and we have to look at it. Hasn't been looked at yet. CHG Catering and Events, the sublease draft was sent by Attorney Saban to town staff on Thursday, the 10th, for review and calculation of shared operating expenses. The final operating expense estimate calculated this morning for inclusion in the final document. Pending this review, this is ready to be sent to CHG to restart negotiations. And Mass Audubon, awaiting an updated license agreement from Attorney Saban. Definition of shared premises in this agreement is contingent upon the language describing the same spaces in the above CHG sublease. And I should tell you, in addition to what I've read here, we read about the license agreement, one of the ideas that our interim community development director put forward and we're trying to put into action is the idea of licensing CHG and Audubon to be up there now. So let's get them in there now, legally and legitimately, and then we'll work out the final details of the lease so that we don't lose the season.
Any questions for Ken?
I don't like that setup. I mean, this is just going out now? You said it,
What's specific?
no, I mean, you just said it went out today, April something.
Oh, some just, yeah, this is the status right now, Joe.
Status, well,
There's been ongoing conversations, and one of the ideas that was floated was, let's get a license, and our attorneys, I think they've drafted a license and sent them over, that this board can look at and approve to let CHG and Audubon get started while we work, because these are kind of complex agreements, so, and they've been a long time in negotiation. So, yeah.
Do you know what are some of the negotiations that are causing it to take so long?
I haven't been deeply involved in it, but I can tell you, having been involved in this type of thing before, you've got two attorneys that are trying to protect their client's interests. They always still have differences because that's what they want to do, is make sure their client has advantage. So these often take a while to work out.
So by giving them a license, how are we protected, or how does that work? Can they,
You know, I haven't looked at the proposal for a license, but you would expect them, it's like a temporary rental agreements. You would expect them to have insurance and to provide whatever it is our attorney thinks are necessary for them to be properly licensed, but you can think of it more as a short-term rental agreement that expires when you get into the long-term agreement.
Yeah, what kind of bothers me, I mean, Audubon, before that building was even started, they were on our side, they wanted it. And the building's been built, it's been open since October. Audubon wanted to be our partner at the very beginning, and still they're not there with a contract. I don't understand.
But they have been there since October offering services so they have been working up there since then. We just don't have a contract with them. And it's been a good relationship, we just have nothing in writing, but they seem to be good.
And I have some questions about I'm not sure if we want a restaurant or just a catering service, and I have my differences of who we're going to pursue as the caterer or restaurateur. I don't know. I'm just exasperated with this whole thing, so I'm not going to say any more.
Okay? And you all set? Or?
Well, I think we need to get something up there as far as a food provider. And we know, I know I was up there volunteering, people would come in and, do you have coffee or something? No. So if we can get somebody up there that is going to just provide during the week and the weekends, what we work out, so that people can go up there, they can go out and walk and take their hikes and come back, and they can have a sandwich or a snack or whatever. And that will get the impetus of people saying, hey, we should do this, because it's really, they're providing something now for us. Because they look around and they love it up there. Everybody I talked to people from North Carolina, from Buzzards Bay, and I really feel that we should have the provision of having food up there for now, and hopefully work it out so that we have a stable relationship where they continue to do it and they can cater small events, and it'll grow. We have got to start pushing to make things happen, whether it's, and how we now got to figure out how to replace the loss of the what I call the glamping, because that was actually going to give them a sort of a steady people up on that mountain, because they would be up there camping and they don't want to cook in the morning or whatever. Let's get them over, we'll go over to the Greylock Glen. But we have to start doing this. We have to start pushing to get everything ready again. I was very upset the other night. I was coming out of the visitor center. I was donating some time down there and was leaving to go home, and this gentleman I had known for years comes walking up to me, and he says, well, it's about time. He says, you people figure out that it's not going to work. And I said, what? And he says, the Glen. It's a waste of time and a waste of everybody's money. And I said, well, I don't think so. I think as a town, we've realized maybe we got a little kick in the butt backwards, but we've got to move forward. And being in business, I remember my father when we were only open during the day, and especially in the fall, in the autumn, when people used to come over the Mohawk Trail, drive around. He goes, okay, we're opening on Sundays from 12 to 6, and we'll have a special menu. He knew then that you have to step out of your comfort zone to please the people. You've got to change your business platform. When we were in business, my brother and I, well, we saw an opportunity. Someone else was coming in, they were going to run nights. Okay, well, maybe we could run nights. I think we ran nights for like 25 years. We gave the people what they were looking for. Unfortunately, we're not still doing it, because I know there is a need in this town for something like that. But we always realize sometimes you have to give up your normalcy to go forward. And that's what we got to start learning with this town. We have got to start learning how to push things forward and be positive for the whole town. So that's my
I'd
opinion.
like to say, well said, and if we're going to just have a catering service, we've got some good caterers in this immediate area. I don't want to mention names, but I was just at something for the girls' basketball team, and it was catered. And the people were from North Adams, and there's other good caterers that are close by that might want to take a look at it. And if it's going to be a catering service, I don't know, I never really knew what it was kind of going to be. I always thought we would have a restaurant up there so that people could, you know, stop in, have a bite to eat, and enjoy the scenery. And now it looks like it's going to be special events and catering.
Well, Joe, what were this company is proposing? He runs, they call it a catering service, okay? How it works, because my daughter-in-law works out in Erie, Pennsylvania. She works from a company, I think it's called Meze. She runs a kitchen for Erie Insurance Company. But the company gives her, this company that we'll call Meze, she's paid by them. This is what this gentleman does. He has a company, he places people in different locations to run this operation. So they would be there more than just for an event. They would be there, we'll say, from Wednesday through Sunday, to be there, available for anyone that's walking up at the Glen, hiking, or whatever, in the winter, snowshoeing, because we want this person there year-round.
I don't.
But that's how these things work. And this gentleman that we supposedly, hopefully, is coming in, he also is he was doing the facilities at one of the colleges in Connecticut. So he knows how to run, I'm saying run the operation, or he wouldn't still be in a college. But I know how that concept works because I know what my daughter-in-law does. And it's like having Aramac at Mass MoCA, and I don't know what Williams does, but you have a major company, they come in, they manage it.
Okay, but what I saw with this gentleman prior to his bankruptcy, his other businesses were like a little, ice cream shop down along the Cape that was seasonal and a few other places. So I don't know his inner workings. What you've told to me is something I've never heard.
Well, that's how I understood his
Well,
business.
that's how you understand it, okay?
And that he knows he's going to have to man it X amount of hours throughout the time. Where if you just have someone that has got a food truck, well, they might have something somewhere else. They don't have the sustainability to stay up there all the time because they have other obligations, in a sense. This was hiring this gentleman to have that place is where he should be, and these are the hours that we will set up, or how we arrange it, that he should be up on that location.
So he'll be, now is this something that we're going to contract out, that he has to be only at this facility certain days and times?
Well, I don't know.
That's what I want to know.
Well,
That should be in the contract.
well, that's something we still have,
Right,
we still have to figure that out.
yeah. I always thought that this was going to be a place where people could come up, sit down, enjoy the scenery. They cut down a bunch of nice trees so that they could have a beautiful view shed of the mountain.
Well, they can.
Yeah, they can, because they took down trees.
But I'm saying, there's nothing they have, they can't.
All right, I don't want to prolong
Okay.
it, but I want to see what the contract says,
Well,
because everything goes by contract.
That's what we'd all like to see.
Yes, Don, if you don't mind, sure.
Real quick, I share the board's frustration. This has moved way too slow, but we are making momentum, okay? There's a lot of momentum now. So could we come back to your second meeting in May and report to you? And I think there'll be a lot of positive news at that point. And we'll have a lot more detail in terms of the type of facility that they're going to operate and everything like that. So things are finally moving. So I just wanted to say, hang tight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Don.
Okay, all right. All right, moving on, still in the old business is the update on appointment of Public Works Director. Ken, we put a copy of the charter wording in the package. Do you want to have a few words about that?
You'll see a copy of the charter provision, which requires the town to have a director of public works that is appointed by this board. And the public works director under the charter has really 4 areas of responsibility: the highways, the cemeteries, the parks, the maintenance garage, and then wastewater. Also attached is the last job description that was done, and at that time, the job description required the Public Works Director to take responsibility for the facilities. But as you know now, that's been shifted to the Building Commissioner. So we see this transition. I know the board is anxious to hire a Director of Public Works as required under your charter. We see this transition taking place over the next year. And we need to rewrite the job description. One of the things I can point out to you right now is that the charter simply says the person has to be qualified by education and experience to hold the job, while the job description requires a degree in engineering, which is, you would prefer, typically you'd write this so you'd prefer an engineering degree, but some people have wonderful experience. Some people don't have bachelor's degrees. I've personally worked with many people without degrees who did fine jobs. I was proud to have them in those jobs and did good jobs for me. So, anyways, those are the things that this job description needs to be harmonized with the charter, because that's what controls. And then we have to decide that the Public Works Director is grade 14 in Dalton, and that tops out right now at $96,000. So that's what we're looking at in terms of the maximum amount of pay. Of course, that's going to be adjusted by the budget this year.
Yeah, I would really like to see and push hard to get a civil engineer, at least somebody with engineering background, because in the long run, it could save the town some money. And for $96,000, I think they should have a good background, so we don't keep an opening for continued favoritism in this town to pass it on to somebody that we like. And that's got to stop.
Okay, so the plan would be that we would, as we did before, next meeting is to appoint the acting town administrator as a DPW director, start the process of updating the job descriptions, and the board can discuss what type of skills and what type of education we want. And then within a year's time, you would have the new DPW director person selected. So we will select a DPW director. Okay, but the next meeting, we'll take that vote. We didn't have that down today. I checked with legal counsel, it's okay if they agreed, it's fine if the acting town administrator takes on that role until we determine the path.
Yes, you remember Jay was, and this is quite a deal because it includes no extra compensation.
Right. Okay, so we'll talk more at the next meeting and make that motion decision. Okay, the last item is close annual town meeting warrant. Is the town clerk here this evening? Helen, would you please come up? So the board, all we need to do this evening is to just make a motion to close the annual town meeting warrant. Question to you is, have you received any citizens petitions for it to be placed on the warrant?
Yes, you did receive one that came in this afternoon. I did forward it all off to you. I believe you should have received it in your email. It is a citizen's petition, and there are ample number of signatures on it. If you don't have a copy, if you didn't get to see it, it is here, it is in your inbox, so you can take a look at that.
Is it okay for you to announce now what it is, the citizens petition encompasses?
To see if the town will vote to require the selectmen, any one or more selectmen per meeting, to hold a monthly series of 60 to 90-minute community forums beginning within 60 days of the 2025 town meeting, to share updates with and engage residents on the Greylock Glen Outdoor Recreation and Environmental Center, or to take any other action in relation thereto. And then it goes on, but that's pretty much the gist of it. So that was, it will be in your packet for the annual town meeting because they did meet the deadline and they had their ample number of signatures. Mr. Walto did receive an email this afternoon from Paula Shanai asking, and I was CC'd on it, asking that attached request come before the Board of Selectmen tonight before the warrant is closed. Unfortunately, there were no signatures attached to this, so I can't consider it a citizen's petition because there were no signatures attached to it, and she also, Ms. Shanai also submitted another one also late this afternoon in an email that does not have any signatures attached to it also.
So she owns the old Gould Farm, right?
I believe she does.
Yeah.
So those two did come in. We can either forward those emails to you, we can put copies in your mailbox, but do understand that there are no signatures attached that I could check to consider them a citizen's petition. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, can we have a motion to close the annual town meeting warrants?
I'll make a motion that we close the annual town meeting warrant.
Motion by Ann, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Joe, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, none, unanimous decision. Now we are at announcements, and we have taken care of the first item A. Item B, these are a few announcements we've talked about already, past meetings. The household hazardous waste collection is Saturday, April 26, 2025, 9 to 12:30 p.m. at the Adams DPW Garage, 92 North Summer Street in Adams. Pre-registration is required. Item C, a volunteer is needed for the Berkshire Opioid Abatement Fund Advisory Board. Call or email the interim town administrator if interested. Our Board of Selectmen, the Board of Health Chair is our delegate. He volunteered, the board approved him. Dr. Rhodes, and we're looking for a backup delegate to support that. And finally, as we've stated in the past, the DPW Operations Supervisor, Wastewater Treatment Superintendent, remind residents that so-called flushable wipes are not flushable and clog town sewers. Please do not flush them. Okay? All right, pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A6, the chair hereby declares that the discussion of the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property with respect to the property located at 100 Columbia Street in an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the town's negotiating position. Accordingly, I move that the board go into executive session to discuss matters pertaining to such real property. The board will reconvene after the executive session just to adjourn. Okay, do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. This is any discussion? This is a roll call vote. Joe?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
John, yes. Okay, we're going to take a 5-minute break. Thank you.